Hi.
stoners and whatnot. That's cool. I have no problem.
Can I ask you your name?
De La Vega.
So you're the artist in the city.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why you're here?
It's important to be here.
How so?
This movement needs to be supported.
What is the movement?
The conversation that's being assembled in there, there are people in there trying to create a conversation that's very important for America.
What kind of conversation? Because I speak to a bunch of people and everybody has a different idea of what they want.
No, there's one common conversation in there. The conversation is that the philosophy that runs America is not really working on behalf of most Americans in this country. That's the underlying conversation. Obviously, there are a lot of underlying issues that people talk about also, but there's one theme here. The theme is that the philosophy in America is off. That's the underlying theme, you know?
Well, when you say it's off, what exactly do you mean, and what would you like to see? What would you like to see in its place of what we have now?
You know, I don't have an answer for that, and I'll tell you why. Because it's not my place to give an answer for that. The answer to that will be in what this becomes. Like, one person can't solve that problem.
Okay, when you say what this becomes, you mean this movement that I see here, which is many-fold, many responses I get from the people in here. If I can get two answers alike, I'd be surprised. So when you say this movement, it's a varied movement. So
no, it's moving in one direction.
At what direction is that?
It's moving in a direction that one of the most powerful things that any movement can do, right, is seize the attention of the public conversation. You understand? That is without a doubt what this movement has done. In the midst of all the conversations going on in America, this still is one of the most powerful ones.
Okay, do you feel that you're being manipulated in any way by any group?
I'm not being manipulated by anybody.
Do you feel people in here are being manipulated by any other group?
I don't think so. I think people in here are genuinely struggling with human issues. You know, they're trying to create a society within a society.
Okay, but Zuccotti Park is a small area. If it's an acre and a half or 2 acres, it's a lot. So that's not quite a city, although it's become a de facto city.
I said a society.
It's a society of sorts. I'm not going to argue with that. But other than this, where do you see this going? I mean, you can't run a country from Zuccotti Park.
You can influence the country from the corner of a street.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I've been doing it for years.
Yes,
Are you an artist in New York City, right?
I work in the city, yeah.
Have I exhausted all my questions, basically? Do you have... I don't know what to ask.
I'll tell you one thing, right? As somebody that's obviously communicating what's going on here, we should always be optimistic, never pessimistic. There's enough pessimism in the world that the people that come from here, there can't be any room for that within them.
Do you believe in a nonviolent movement?
It's the only movement that I can support.
Only?
That's the only movement that I can support. There are people that can support other things. I have a loyalty to children, to young people that follow my work, so I can only support a nonviolent situation.
Do you have a political point of view?
Yeah, show up.
Other than that, are you a Democrat, a communist, a socialist, a Republican?
Those things are irrelevant to this movement.
But are you any of those, whether they're relevant or not?
It doesn't really, those people don't dictate my movements.
So you're not any of those things I said?
No, my name is De La Vega, and that's what I represent.
good for you.
Just yourself?
I represent myself, and I represent my message.
And what is that?
The message is that people, regardless of what's going on in America, that people need to continue to struggle to achieve dreams.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of things, and a lot of people online saw a lot of anti-Semitic rantings.
I heard some today, and it was actually disappointing.
And I tell you, it discredits whatever this movement is. No one's going to put up with that nonsense. So how do you feel about that when you hear that?
It shouldn't discredit the movement. I'll tell you, the thing is that there are philosophies, not just in here, there are philosophies in America that poison how people behave. And that's one of the poisons that we have to clean ourselves of, right? And that takes time. Right?
But if you saw that happening, would you stand against that?
It's not my place to come out here and argue with everybody.
I'm not asking, not to argue, but would you... I don't expect you to argue with everybody. You have to pick and choose your arguments.
All forms of hate, right? Any movement that separates one group over another, it's not a good thing. You know that.
No, of course I know that, but I'm asking you because I know of you. I know who you are in the city. I know of your work. So the reason I'm asking you is because if it happens in your presence and you stay silent, isn't that condoning it?
No, I see Latin American people throughout the city and throughout the country being being hurt also, and nobody's talking about that. And at the end of the day, my loyalty is to that group of people. And if I see somebody, listen, if I see somebody being anti-Semitic and it's in front of me, it's disappointing because I don't want to see it against any group of people.
Well, let me tell you something. If I saw somebody being anti-Spanish or anti-black, and they were by me, and I was able to do something, I would do it. I would not just stand by to go along to get along.
Well, I have
So that's why I'm asking you.
I have no interest in arguing with everybody.
I hate
Huh?
the Jews.
I have no interest in
Jews that
arguing
are
with
devil
everybody.
bankers, and I seen the kids
Yeah,
organized.
someone that's
I seen the
anti-Semitic,
kids organized
right?
and get them
No,
out.
I'm saying anti-Semitic and loud about it.
Someone that's anti-Semitic has the right to be anti-Semitic.
So then I have a right to be anti-black, and you have a right to be anti-Italian.
You're right. You're right. That's a freedom that human beings have. It's not a good freedom, but it's a freedom.
Okay, but if in a crowd somebody is screaming anti-black stuff, and you're here, or anti-Jewish
I'm
stuff,
not
and
gonna
you're
argue
here,
with them.
I'm not asking you to argue with them, but do you feel that you have a need to speak up
Yeah,
or
I do,
out?
and I do it through my work.
Okay.
My commitment is to the people that say, you know what, I believe in what you do. And I just continue to promote positive feeling and positive inspiration. We stay there.
So would you recommend that to all people or anybody that if they saw somebody screaming anti-black or anti-Puerto Rican, anti-Spanish stuff, not to get involved, not to say anything, just to act the way they want to act for themselves?
You know, you're a smart man, right?
I don't know about that.
Well, I think you are. You know that in America today and anywhere in the world, one doesn't have to scream hatred toward another group for hatred to exist. It exists anyway.
Okay, but talk straight to me. I don't know what that means. That's like mumbo jumbo to me.
You understand.
No, I don't really. I'm
You know
being
what?
honest with you. I'm being straight with you. I don't know what that means.
But nothing that comes out of my mouth is ever mumbo jumbo. So let's end this conversation.
Fair enough. Done.
Well said.